Hello, everybody, and welcome to our team Zoom. My name is Harlequin Murray, and I am your co-host this evening, just like I am every week. I'm one of the senior team leaders underneath Ellen, but I get the wonderful opportunity to go and introduce her for everybody who has not been here before. And also just for those of you who are new, welcome to the team. We are glad you are here with us. And just so you know, Ellen will be taking questions at the end of the Zoom. So if you have any, you can put them in the chat. Otherwise, at the end, you can raise your hand and we will call on you. But anyways, for those of you who don't know who Ellen is, she is our senior team leader with David Allen Capital. She's just like you and I. She started out as an agent and has built a huge team. But a little bit about her background. She grew up on a farm in Dallas, Georgia. It's just outside of the Atlanta area, and lived there. She actually has recently moved back there, but anyway, she worked in the restaurant industry for about 25 years and had worked her way up to a regional director with Domino's Pizza and did training for them, different things like that. And then back about 25 years ago, she went and she left Domino's and started her own pizza chain. So she became her own business owner. She had a couple of different restaurants, and she's been a business owner ever since then. She started network marketing about 20 years ago, I believe it was, and has worked with several different companies. I met her about 17, 18 years ago now. And whenever I met her, she was actually one of my upline, and she was the national training director for that company. So she's got a strong background in training. She's worked with tens of thousands of agents and does a phenomenal job with that. But, with David Allen Capital, she is an area director. And under our longevity comp plan, she's a one-star executive. So she's got a lot of experience, and we are very fortunate to have her on our team, or to be on her teams, excuse me. But anyways, without further ado, Miss Ellen Winn, if you want to go ahead and take it away.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you, Harlequin. Yes, I appreciate you being here every week, as you said. And guys, those of you that are on Harlequin's team, you get a double dose of leadership. You have her to work with, and you have opportunity to work with me as well. So we're excited you're here tonight. If this is your first time joining us, thank you for coming out and welcome to the team. We do this Zoom every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time, giving an opportunity for you guys to interact with your immediate team leaders, and also doing some team recognition. And then at the end of the presentation, we'll do some Q&A if you have those. So let me get us into screen share mode as I do each week. And we'll go through some slides that I put together for you. We've had a strong month so far. We still got a few days left, as Friday will end out the week for us. And want to make sure that there we go. We got the presentation slides on, or the team recognition slides on there, Harlequin. I can't.
Yes, ma'am, we do.
Okay, great. All right, awesome. Okay, I always start out with team recognition, and we go through the top recruiters first. And why is that? Because DAC is a marketing company. We do market funding. That's our flagship product, and that's what our company started on. But if we didn't have the marketing team in the field like you and I, then our company wouldn't exist. We would end up like David first started. He had a small group of agents that were working out of an office, calling businesses. They were doing quite well with their funding, but he decided to take it on a national level and be able to introduce independent agents across the country. And being on a national level without having to supervise people, all of us are on our own accord as we work diligently to bring customers to the table. But he's also passionate about home-based business industry, as he's been in that space since the late 90s. So you and I have a tremendous opportunity here to be able to be our own business owners and be our own boss, which for me is of primary importance. After becoming an entrepreneur in 1997, I'll do anything to never have a boss again. So those things add up to a tremendous opportunity here. And the key to us recruiting and bringing on other agents is us helping to bring that marketing force to the table. So I want to get into the team recognition on our top recruiters for the week. Our recruiting numbers were down this past week from what they were the previous week. But this is the leaderboard from September the 19th through September the 25th. And I've only listed those that had 2 or more recruits. We had many that had just 1 recruit, but our top recruiter this week was Eric Johnson in first place with 11 new agent recruits. Way to go, Eric. Omar Moody came in second place with 9 new agent recruits. And in third place, we had a 3-way tie with 2 new agents. That's Noel Booker, Brittany Chapman, and Nicholas Cranstown. So congratulations to all of you who made the leaderboard. All in all, we had 35 people who had at least 1 new recruit for that week, with a total of 56 new agents coming on board. And that's about half. Actually, that's less than half of the new agents that we had the week before. So don't know what's going on out there, but wanted to talk about a new recruiting incentive that really should be pushing you to do some recruiting. David made a couple of announcements on Friday, and he put out a video, which you should have seen through email, but if you're new, you probably didn't. The new compensation plan hasn't been totally updated. So let me explain how this works. We've got a recruiting incentive that's good through the end of this year. For anybody that you recruit, you're going to be auto engaged on your personally enrolled agents. What does that mean? Well, you're going to refer prospective agents over to your DAC partner page, right? They'll go to davidallencapital.com/partner/your agent ID number. They'll watch the short video, and then they can watch the full business presentation, which we really want them to do. If you've not seen the full business presentation, then you don't have a full big picture view of what David Allen Capital is all about. So anybody in this recruitment incentive, anybody that signed up as an agent from May 23rd through the end of this year, you're going to be automatically eligible to earn your enroller bonuses, regardless of when they get their fundings on their first 2 fundings. So if they get one in their first year, you'll get paid on it. If it's 2 years down the road before they get their first and second funding, then you'll earn your enroller bonus. Why did I say you're auto engaged on that? Well, you have to meet qualifications to be eligible to earn on your enrolled agents, personally enrolled, and on your team. But this bonus is going to guarantee you at least a 25% match on their income. So real quick, let's talk about what that would look like. Let's say that you had a personally enrolled agent who this team goes out, and let's say this one person goes out and gets a $200,000 funding. You're going to earn 25% of their personal commission. So on a $200,000 funding, if that's their first one, they'll make 3%. So they would make $6,000. Your 25% match for bringing them to David Allen Capital and introducing them as an agent would be $1,500. How many of you could use an extra $1,500 check coming into your inbox? Total surprise, right? Just because you brought somebody into the team and they went out and helped the business owner get funding. Well, that's how that 25% match looks. Okay. Also, David did an update on ways to earn on your team as a general rule. So our compensation plan shows that there are 5 ways to be engaged to earn that enroller matching bonus and the 50% enroller matching fast start bonus and the override matching bonus eligible. So generally, if you're in DAC in your first 60 days, if you have any new client that's funded, or you have a renewal funding that is 6,000 or more, all right, and if you have a qualified, if you're qualified at AD or above, or if you have 6 active customer finance clients. That's how our comp plan has been. All right. But he just now announced that you can now qualify to earn your enroller bonus on funding of personally enrolled agents by having 1 new funded client in the past 12 months. So now anybody you recruit from May 23rd all the way through the end of this year, you're guaranteed to earn 25% minimum on their first 2 fundings, right? But if you have had a funding in the past 12 months, you're going to earn 25% match minimum on every funding that they get on your personally enrolled agents, every funding that they get within that 12 months of your most recent funded deal. So that's a huge, huge announcement there. So again, let me see, why not have that slide in there? Okay, I had that slide in there a second time. So again, remember, if it's 200,000, you get a 25% match at 3% on that 6,000, 1,500. But if you're amped up and you're getting clients on your own and you've had a client in the past 30 days, then you can earn a 50% match. So that same scenario, the $200,000 funding, if they're making 3%, you get 50% of that and would earn $3,000. Again, just an email coming into your inbox saying, congratulations, you're earning an enroller matching bonus. So if they were amped up and they're getting their double commission and you're getting double, then you could actually get $6,000 on that. So not to be a compensation plan training, but I just want you to think about why you're recruiting or why you're not recruiting, because it is the lifeblood of our business. So as you're recruiting and as you're gathering clients is really what is necessary for you to move through the compensation plan at DAC, right? In fact, DAC 1, DAC 2, and DAC 4, you can get to all of those levels here, these first 3 ranks in the comp plan, on your own without having a team whatsoever. To get to DAC AD, where I am, it comes from having team structure. But tonight we've got a couple of new DAC 1s for the past week, and I want to acknowledge and recognize them right now. So we've got new promotions to DAC 1. How do you get there? Well, you have to have at least 1 qualified funding. What is a qualified funding? It is a funding of at least $6,000 or more to count as a qualified funding. Or if it's Giggle, they take all of the Giggle fundings and combine them together, and they have to add up to at least $6,000 cumulative total funded value, right? So that would be at least 1 qualified funding and a total funded value of at least $10,000. So tonight I want to recognize QT Square. QT's had a $90,000 funding, and also Antonio Angeles had a $50,000 funding. Both of these were the first fundings for each of these agents, and what a way to get started out of the gate. It was their first funding. They both counted as a qualified client and have already exceeded the funded value to get all the way to DAC 4. They just need 3 more clients to get there. But congratulations to QTs and Antonio. Harlequin, do you see QTs in the waiting room here or in the chat? We were going to do a testimonial if QTs is on the line with us.
I'm not seeing.
If you're there, QTs, just do the raise hand function and we will recognize you and be able to see you in the line up there. All right, Antonio, if you're on here, you can also raise your hand and share the story about how you got your funded client and so on. Meanwhile, while we're looking to see if those guys are on the line with us, then we're going to go to the next one here for promotion to DAC 2. This is where you have to have at least 2 qualified fundings, two of those at least 6,000, and a cumulative total funded value of 20,000 or more. And this week we have Lakeisha Joyner, who has hit DAC 2. Congratulations to Lakeisha. I believe Lakeisha was going to join us and do a little testimonial there. Is that the case, Harlequin? Is Lakeisha on?
She is on, and she
Awesome.
has herself unmuted.
All right.
And
let me get us off a screen share for a minute here.
Yeah,
Let you guys talk.
Yeah, she ended up not being able to be on camera today because I caught her at the last minute, and I apologize for that. She would have, but anyways, Lakeisha, if you can tell us a little bit about the client that you got. What industry are they in?
Are you here?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Oh, okay. I want to make sure that I was being heard. Okay, the client that I have funded, hold on, I have to go back and look because I'm always sending, my marketing strategy is just off the chain. That's what I would say. It's off the chain because I'm always trying to get a client funded, so I don't know exactly which client this was, but hold on one moment.
Well, you can tell us, you've actually, you just qualified for DAC 2, but you actually have had 3 clients that got funded, but the first 2 didn't quite add up to 20,000. So, maybe you can just let us know a little bit about, in general, the clients that you've gotten and how you've been able to find them.
Okay, I normally use my Instagram and Facebook for a lot of my marketing, and then I own 2 businesses of my own. So my clients who hair I do, I present funding to them because they have businesses, some of my clients. And then I walk in the hair stores. I'm just always throwing it out there. Well, if you need funding, I'm here for you. The one that I got funded for 8,500, I think it was 8,500. I think she owns a clothing boutique. And I was doing her hair, and she was like, well, I need funding. I'm running low on inventory. My money is real short. And I just presented to her, okay, I'm an agent and I can help you with funding. And she was in shock. So she was like, do you think they'll fund me? Because my credit isn't so good. I asked her what her credit was. She told me like a 600, and she had been trying to get funding for a while. And it worked out perfect.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love hearing when somebody is having challenges getting funding and we're able to help them and help them move their business forward.
Mm-hmm.
You said you get some clients through work, through your business, and then you also do, you said social media. What what platforms do you typically work with?
I've been trying to get a lot of truckers. So basically what I do is I make a post and I say, if you a business owner with a 550 or higher credit score, been in business for over 6 months and have an account and need funding, tap in. And then they just respond, and then I send them a link, and I also send them my number if they need help with anything, and we just go from there.
Okay, that's awesome. Well, congratulations and thank you for sharing. And we look forward to seeing you as a new DAC 4. You're over halfway there, girl. You can do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make it happen.
Okay. Fantastic. And Ellen, I noticed that QT's just joined us.
I saw that. Let me see. There we go. I'm going to ask you to unmute and we'll ask you some questions. Are you there, QT?
Hi. Yes, I am. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Do you go by QT's or do you shorten that?
You can call me Q.
I thought you might go by Q. I love it. Well, hey, congratulations on a massive funding. I've already done the slides congratulating you to DAC 1 for your first funding. And I went back and looked, at when you first got started with DAC. You've been with us since 2019, and this is your first funding. You haven't really been active with us, have you?
I have not. You are absolutely correct.
And that is okay. You're a great testimonial of you can get started anytime and have success. So tell us a little bit about how you found this client and what industry they're in, because I know everybody on the line here is always listening for pointers on, you know, what they could be doing to find a client.
Yeah, absolutely. So just a very short background on myself. For about 4 years, I was in credit repair. And a lot of times my clients end up wanting to get locked into mortgages, or they may decide to get some personal lending. Well, I got really good at business credit. So I kind of put the personal credit to the side and start referring them to one of my affiliates. But I started working really hard with my business clients, and they call me for consultations just to kind of get their business built up, as far as like getting their LLC and all that stuff. But I also had clients that actually are already in, I apologize for that noise, y'all. But I also have other clients who have been in business for a while and they make plenty of money. So this person who got funded this time here is a sneaker company. He has his own store locally to me. He knows I work with business, and he literally, not really referred, but he remembered. So he hit me about getting some lending, and I said, I got somebody for you. And I know I've been sitting on David Allen Capital for a while now. I always get your emails, Ellen. And I was like, you know what, it's time for me to really get involved with DAC. And I said from now on, since he's the first one, I'm going to push it every day. Every single day, and we're going to get some more people in. People are already applying already, just getting them to agree to the terms and sign off on, you know, whatever that needs to be signed off on. I'm going to get some more coming in too, hopefully this week.
Well, that's awesome. Again, very exciting that your first funding is a $90,000 deal coming out of the gate. That was a surprise to me. I saw the email, and I believe David mentioned this on Friday, where your enroller and their enroller are not active in DAC. So as a new agent, or not new, you're not new, but as a first funding, then you weren't qualified yet to earn that extra 10%, which you are now as a DAC 1. So as a DAC AD, I got the 10% plus the 5 plus the 15 plus another 5. I got a nice commission email on top of what you received. So I'm going, oh my gosh, I got to check out, who is this QT Square? I've never heard of this one. So I'm super excited for you, and that bonus that I was able to get for being a team leader, and you know, having worked my way through the compensation plan to do that. But we're real proud that you could join us tonight. And just so you know, Q, there are quite a few agents in our organization that have been in the credit repair business. In fact, we had a big team come over from a company that had some challenges, and they have had tremendous success because they already have that business clientele, just like you referenced. So I wish you great success. Thanks for popping on here tonight, and I hope to see and hear from you much more frequently. All right.
Awesome. Have a good evening, you guys.
All right. You too. I'm going to go back to screen share here, where we just did Lakeisha. And just so you can see, your name was in lights there, Q. Well, it doesn't want to go backwards. There it goes. There we had you and Antonio didn't pop on here yet. So, okay. All right. So let's talk about the next thing. And, you know, we got these giggle commissions last week, but I was coming off of my birthday weekend, as I shared last week on Monday. And I really didn't have time to analyze the giggle fundings like I did over this weekend. So I want to go through some numbers with you and share something that I haven't shared in the past as we've gotten the giggle fundings. We had a total of 65 giggle fundings in our team for the month of August. Now, let's talk about giggle. First, for rank qualifying client, as I just explained for DAC 1 and DAC 2, the funding has to be at least $6,000 for the month, okay? If it is a giggle funding, they add them all together, and you got to have at least 6,000 in cumulative funded value for it to count as a new client, right? And for it to count for rank advancement and for you to get amped up. So let's go back. If it's in giggle fundings are only reported on the 17th of the month. So with that conversation, I want to recognize a few people because we had several people who had 2 or more giggle fundings for the month. In first place, we had Eric Johnson. Eric had 7 giggle fundings for the month, and the total funded value was $8,157. And I have Eric highlighted here by himself because that 8157 qualified as a new client because it was over $6,000, right? So his giggle fundings all combined counted as one new client in the compensation plan. And it also gave him 30 days of being amped up status because it counted as a new qualifying client, okay? But it took 7 of those. Our average funding is about $1,100 when you look at giggle. But let's talk about who else got multiple giggle clients for the month. We had Lavonda Goodman had 4 giggle clients for a total funded value of $55.42. Patrice Valentine had 2 for a total of $23.35. Sherry Moody had 2 for a total of $21.59. Duraniel Swan had 2 for a total of $2,063. John Clerge had 2 for $1,401 total funded value. Miguelina Pasquale had 2 for $1,298, and Raven Mark had 2 for total funded value of $1,268. So congratulations for you guys who got those giggle fundings. Even if you just had 1 and I didn't put you on the leaderboard tonight, I wanted to point that out to take the conversation a little bit further about giggle. Okay. Now, if you have seen my DAC website training, I always lead with the business capital page, right? And because I lead with business capital, I get a variety of applicants. I get those bigger clients like Q had for her first funding. I get those that are 90 to 150 to $200,000 revenue on a monthly basis that are applying. But I also get a lot of giggle applicants coming through, and I get a good mixture of the BIDI advanced clients. So I think this business capital page is the best tool for you to market because it's a page that speaks to all business owners and is the best tool if you want to market to a higher revenue business that will qualify you for the larger funding amounts through Bank Breezy and our partnership with BIDI Advance. Higher revenue businesses have higher approval odds and will also earn you higher commission. So again, I always lead with this page, but it still brings those giggle clients in. Just remember, if you're going to use that business capital page of your website, you must add your agent ID to the end of any link before you send it out to a prospect. So you can click from your main page over to business capital, just add your agent ID right after that /, and you're good to go with this page as your lead marketing tool. Now, for those of you who are leading with the self-employed and gig worker page, you're targeting the most difficult and highest risk audience to fund. Not all, but a majority of the applicants who are attracted to this page will get sent to our partners at Giggle Finance, where the funding range is $400 to a max of $5,000 with an average of $1,100. So a few things that you want to know if they qualify at Giggle. The funding amount that a Giggle client will receive is very small. This is not the product that you want to lead with if you want to maximize your income as well as move through our compensation plan quickly. Now, let me say this, not discounting those that I just recognized on the Giggle funding. Remember, I said I lead with the other page, but because I get so much activity every month, I get a lot of people that qualify for Giggle to apply through my page as well. So I think those that got the multiples of the Giggle clients are also marketing to lots and lots of people and getting lots of applications coming through. They just happen to have more Giggle clients that got approved than anybody else in the giggle funding space, right? So this is not a product you want to leave with if you want to maximize your income and move through the comp plan. Now, with Biddy Advance and the Bank Breezy larger fundings, we receive daily commissions on most of these fundings. But because of the low funding amount, giggle commissions are only reported to DAC monthly on the 15th for the prior month's funding. So what we just got paid on the 17th was for the month of August, right? So it's not a quick turnaround. You'll receive commissions for giggle clients funded this month around the 17th of the next month. And your giggle clients will all be added together, must total at least 6,000 cumulative funded value to count as a customer for AMP qualification and for rank advancement. Okay. Now, one new giggle client will count as engaged so that you're eligible to earn on your team and towards your enroller bonus. But we just flip the switch on that, right? On how that will get you engaged on personally enrolled agents. Okay. And on average, it's going to take you 6 clients to count as a customer for AMP and rank advance. It's going to take you, when you're dealing with clients that have questions about funding, if you have a giggle client reaching out to you with text messages or phone call or having questions, it's going to take as much time for you or more to help these clients as it does helping a higher revenue client. Yet the commission is just a fraction of what you can earn on larger funding. So again, I lead with the business capital page, throwing out a broader net to capture more interest than what I believe that one page tends to target with the gig worker and self-employed. Because I really think that a business owner that's doing $100,000 a month or $200,000 a month might not take that self-employed gig worker page as seriously as they would the business capital page of our website. Okay, so before we go into question and answer, I want to remind everyone that month end is coming up on Friday. And are you qualified to earn residuals on your team? How do you know how this works? Well, in the Agent Resource Center under number 3, that is your compensation plan video and chart. If you click on that chart, go to page 4, and this is the residual page of the compensation plan. So let me break that down for you real quick. For you to be eligible to earn on your team, you have to have personal qualifying volume, PQV, okay? Monthly personal qualifying volume. So if you have 0 personal qualifying volume, you can't earn on your team if you have folks in your organization. But if you have at least 50, that makes you an associate, and that makes you eligible to earn 5% commission on your levels 1 and level 2. You get paid off of the bonus volume in those 2 levels in your organization. And if you have 100 personal qualifying volume points, then you're going to be eligible for 3 levels. Plus you go from 5 to 8% on levels 1 and 2, and it adds the 3rd level where you're earning 8, 8, and 7% of the bonus volume that you're seeing in your organizational structure there. Once you have 150 to get to sales associate, and you have 3 qualified associates, 3 people frontline with 50 points each, that makes you a sales associate. Now you're bumped up to 4 levels deep in your group. And then the last one I'll cover is senior associate. You need 200 in personal qualifying volume, 3 brand associates frontline. What's a brand associate? 3 frontline agents with 100 points each. And then you have to have 1,000 compressed qualifying volume in your first 3 levels. And I'm going to show you real quick where we go find that. But as a senior associate, you get paid 5 levels deep in your organization off of residual. So let's go take a look at my bonus qualifications in the back office. Let's see if I can get the right one opened here. I have a demo account. There we go. All right, so where are we going to find this? Making sure I was in the right account there. Okay, so where are you going to find your commission and your bonus qualifications? Well, if you go into commissions, my bonus qualifications, when you click on that, it's going to show you a weekly summary, and you can open that up and it'll show you what your, it shows you every part of the comp plan. Okay, it's a really cool tool. It shows you what is required for each level. It'll say, am I a distributor? And this is a demo account, so it has 0 points in it, right? I just have it. I got permission to set this up so that I have something that I can open up for the team. But it's a really cool tool. Again, it's under commissions, my bonus qualification, and it'll automatically populate. So if you have a team, it'll automatically populate and tell you how many frontline associates, brand associates, personally enrolled associates, et cetera. It'll give you those numbers, and it will automatically show you what your compressed group volume is right here. So if you're wanting to get to sales associate, then you can read the definition here. It says sales associate. To become that, it just tells you what it is. And as you start moving through the ranks, it'll change and it'll say, am I a distributor? Yes. Associate? Yes. Brand associate? Yes. And the first no is the next level that you're trying to achieve, right? The next thing you want to look at to see if you have volume in your team, if you're building a team, is go to genealogy and you can hit volume totals, or I'll take you back to home. You can go from your home screen and hit volume totals there. And you can also hit your bonus qualifications. Both of those screens that I'm showing you are right here as a little shortcut menu. So volume totals, it shows you 3 different lines for September. This first one is your quick start. That's only tied to product packages through longevity. The 8-minute trader product is throwing quick start volume into there if you have people in your team buying that particular product. And then we have qualifying volume, just as it says. If it's qualifying volume, that is the volume necessary to qualify you for rank advancement or pay rank in the compensation plan. BV, which is bonus volume, is what you get paid your bonuses off of. So that's a really easy way to remember that. And the bonus volume, again, is 8, 8, 7, etc., depending on what rank you are in there. So you can look at your personal volume, your group volume. You can view it by leg, by level, and by associate. But as you start building a team, you want to analyze those reports so that you can see what's going on in your organization and what the potential income is for you. So I'm going to take us off of screen share and go back to our face-to-face and give you guys an opportunity to ask questions. I think that was the last slide that I had. Let me double check that. Yes, it was the last slide that I had in my slide deck there. So do we have any questions tonight? I don't see any hands up. You can go down to the raise hand or the reactions at the bottom of the page, or if we have something in the chat there, Harlequin.
We don't have anything in the chat tonight, but we just had a couple of people raise their hands. So
all right, I see that. Okay, we've got Ray. I'm going to ask you to unmute. How are you doing tonight?
Hey, Ellen, how you doing?
Good, good. Thank you.
Well, first of all, I want to again congratulate to everybody for getting their funding. Now, I had asked this question on a Friday call. I don't know if you would be able to answer this. I did get some of my questions answered. In the DAC Resource Center, I noticed that there is a actual 1-page PDF of the application. Now, I know that basically we're, anyone that wants to, as far as getting funding, fill out that online. So the question was answered that yes, the document is back there, but that's only for extreme circumstances. So I asked, well, what example of those circumstances would be? Well, I didn't really get an answer. I guess they was just saying they've never had that happen. But what would be an extreme circumstance if for any reason they could use the application? That's,
Yeah, so-
it's in the resource center at the, like the very bottom almost.
Sure. It used to be the application that before we did the online application sequence that we have now, it used to be that an applicant would fill out a apply now and they automatically received that one-page application via email, and they had to manually fill it out and then email it back into the funding team. I guess it's still back there in the event that there is an issue with the document getting signed and uploaded into the system. It would not work for a Giggle client, and it would not work for Biddy Advance. Okay, both of those are online. They do bank linking verification only, but it would work for Bank Breezy for the larger fundings over 15,000. I've not had a case yet where that it wouldn't go through, but in the event that they couldn't get it signed off on through the DocuSign, then they could certainly go the old route, fill out the paper application, email it in to our funding team at Bank Breezy, and they would accept that, because that one application is accepted by all of the lenders that DAC works with. In fact, the online application is the same information that they fill out on that paper application. So that would be the only example, is if for some reason their technology wasn't working or their device wasn't allowing them to sign off on a DocuSign, they could manually send that in.
Okay, and so if that happens, will we have to give them, or email them the one-page application, or it's, so you're saying it's on the website still for them if it has to come to that?
Yeah, and it may be an oversight that it's even still there. But if our funding team did need them to fill that out, they would send that email. That they would.
Okay, so we wouldn't even deal with that.
Yeah, so you wouldn't even have to worry with that.
Okay, now my second question, this would be my last one. When you was doing the when you were showing the different levels, the DAC 1, the DAC 2, the DAC 4, just a question. How come they don't have a DAC 3? I was just curious. I was just wondering, why did they skip the number?
Yeah, well, David did that when he first created the compensation plan. I don't know that I've ever asked him that question specifically, but it's just a level. If you look at the commissions that get paid, it starts out at a 10% match. DAC 2, you get an extra 5%, but then going to DAC 4, it's a big jump. It goes all the way to an extra 15%. So essentially, your first two levels there, it doubles when you go to DAC 4. You got to do more work and you got to have more clients, but he's trying to put that into the comp plan. Also, not only for you to be rewarded as the agent getting the client, but it also is there to help the upline that's helping grow and develop that new agent, because there are questions along the way. There are support questions along the way that upline team leaders have to help those people in their group. And if there was a DAC 1, a DAC 2, and a DAC 3, that those people would just move through the compensation plan and cut the team leaders out of overrides. They're pretty necessary. In fact, David recently changed the comp plan at the beginning of July. Prior to July, if you had one funded client, no matter how much they received, it counted as one client and you could get bumped to DAC 1. And same thing with 2. I mean, we had people that hit DAC 2 with a total cumulative funding of $6,000. But it started cutting the upline out of overrides, yet the upline was still having to do a lot of work in supporting and answering questions and doing calls and so on with the agent. So David saw a need for that, changing the qualification and not making it as easy to get to those first few levels in the comp plan. So I think that's really why he did not do a DAC 3, is just to have that bigger gap to where when you get that next promotion, it's a big bump in the commission and a big bump going to team leaders that are building an organization. But that's a great question. Good observation as well.
Thank you.
You bet. All right. Was that all you had tonight?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ray. Appreciate you
Ellen,
chiming in and asking questions. Yeah, Harlequin.
On the question about the paper application, there are times when a client may have a renewal funding that they need to do, and they don't want them to necessarily go through that process. The other time that I have run into that is with truck drivers. Sometimes they don't have the ability to do everything on their phone, and they have to go and do a paper, they go into an office and have the paper, if they're out on the road. So
Awesome. But back to the question, is that something that an agent necessarily needs to send, or the renewal team would be able to send them that renewal application, correct?
yeah, the renewal team would send out the renewal application, but if you do have, I had a situation where I had a truck driver on the road. He wasn't able to do everything that way. So he ended up having to do a paper application, but it's
Awesome.
very unusual anymore. It used to be
Mhm.
the norm. Now it's a rare circumstance.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, well, thanks for that feedback there. Okay, I'm gonna lower raised hand, and we're gonna go to Mark. I'm gonna ask you to unmute. How are you doing tonight, Mark? There
I'm
you are.
doing wonderful. How are you?
Good, Mr. Renewal. Mark recently had funding, and I called to congratulate him. I looked at it, and it was a renewal, which happened to be a surprise to you, wasn't it?
Yeah, the cool thing is, the people I'm approaching are business owners that over the years I've given them business, and so I just happened to be visiting this barbecue restaurant that I frequent, and I was asking them, how things been. And he told me, he goes, yeah, it's good. And he told me what, he had been doing with, his, first funding. I'm all, oh, you're not obligated to tell me anything. But he says, no, I want to share with you. And then, we were talking, and then I had no idea just by this, just visiting him and, showing, giving him business, and that he renewed again. He didn't tell me, and I didn't even know until you called me. And I was like, hey, this is the same person that she helped me with. And so I had to mention that to you and share that with you. So, thank you so much. I mean, we've got such great leadership, and I'm thankful
And
for that. But
explain what you mean by that I helped you with, Mark. Explain what you mean.
well, I mean, a lot of businesses, they often say you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. But then if you need help, they're nowhere to be found, and it's kind of like the person that signed me into the business, they they work a regular job and they weren't available. And then the person that signed them in, she's busy, she's gonna, one of those serial business people. She's got, a lot going on, and she's successful at it. And so I'm unable to reach her. So I just reached out to you one day, and you responded, when you could, and we talked, and we spoke to the client on the phone. And I was just like, man, this about you. I'm like, wow, you really are a person of your word. And then you've got me connected with someone that's part of your line that I'm connected with. But I haven't had a need to speak to my, I think it's Michael,
Mhm.
that you were telling me about. I haven't had a need yet, because basically everything that we need is on our training videos. So I'm just kind of like constantly, watching them and going over the material, even the new stuff. I have to watch one of the new, the new compensation plan. I haven't had a chance to do that because I've been so busy with, I'm a pastor, so I hate to say this, but I've had to do a lot of funerals and weddings, and so I just wasn't able to really sit down. Plus having a child with Down syndrome, and I homeschool them, so I just haven't had time to sit down for 1 hour and really watch it. I would watch bits and pieces, and so it's kind of slowed down. So I'm going to watch it, but I just want to say thank you once again for your help, by just talking to the client and answering some questions that he may have had. But there's a question that he when we were talking that he was asking me, and I didn't know how to answer it. So I said, well, let me talk to my leader and I can possibly get back, or I might just find out to tell you to call them. And what he was saying was that he didn't understand when it comes to, paying on the funding. He thought, I guess for some reason, he was under the impression that he was only going to pay once a week, but he's paying like every day. And so he said he loves the funding. That's the only part he doesn't like and he doesn't understand. I said, well, there's a purpose for everything, because this particular client, he had already had a funding through another company that was, was that called a commercial funding or something like that? It was some kind of other funding for a restaurant. Merchant. He had done a merchant loan of some type. And I think he was like halfway done, more than halfway done paying for that. But our company, we still help folks like that. And so, but that kind of goes into the whole qualifying process. And so I don't know if that affected the reason why he's paying once every day, I'm not sure about that. So that's my question. Why do they pay every day instead of just once a week?
Yeah, sure. So that's really up to the lender. They dictate the terms of the funding, right? They go through the underwriting, they look at the financials of that business owner, and they determine whether they're going to do a daily payback or a weekly payback. Most of our fundings are daily payback, at least in the beginning. And when we say daily, that means business banking days, Monday through Friday.
Right, Monday through Friday.
The average month has 20 banking days in it, so they don't draw on weekends or holidays. But most are going to start out on a daily basis. If he doesn't like that, have him send a message in to his lender, right? He's making direct payments to them. Have him send in a message to them and ask for a review to see if it would be possible for him to make weekly payments. But all in all, it's the same dollar amount, Mark, just so you know. If he's paying $50 a day, then he would be paying $250 a week, which is the same breakdown. There's not a cheaper.
There's no interest or increase.
No, it's exactly the same payment. They break it out the same way. And we find that most of the time business owners really like the daily payback because it helps them budget and realize how much they're having to pay rather than to come up with a lump sum at the end of the month. I always tell that with me and my GMC Yukon that I purchased for my limousine business, I pay for that vehicle on a weekly basis. The bank didn't ask me to do that. I got a regular bank loan on it, and I set it up to where it drafts automatically every Monday, pays $200 towards that truck.
Nice.
So at the end of the month, I'm ahead of the payment, I'm paying it off early, and I've got $200 budgeted in my expenses every week. So it's real easy cash flow for me looking at it that way. So that's what that is. But thank you for your kind words. Congratulations on that. And when I said explain by what you mean, I was really trying to drive home that point that you called me and you and I both were on the phone. We did a three-way call with that business owner. So
Yes.
not only were you hearing me answer the questions, but you were hearing how I talked to a client for you and how I helped you. So I think that it was a learning experience for you in the process too. So great job.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So just one quick point. So you're saying that have the client contact the lender or DAC?
No, have them reach out to the lender.
Have them reach out to the lender.
Yeah, they can reach out to them and ask, would it be possible for them to review their loan to see if they might be eligible for weekly payments instead of daily payback.
Okay, cool. And the last thing I want to say too about what we were saying about, kind of listening to you, the questions you would ask, how you would say things. One thing I learned, which, and I heard it one time, and I can't remember which person, I know it was a lady, but she said this, is that if you ever have your senior or your lead above you, in a three-way conversation and you're listening, have a notebook. And so I have this notebook. And so when you were asking my client questions, I wrote the question down And then when you answered the question, I wrote the answer down at the same time. So that way, when I'm talking to other people, I have, some information. Now, every situation is different, but the thing is that when those same questions come up, I feel more confident in answering and having that knowledge. Like if I don't know the answer, I'll tell them I'll get the answer. But what I'll do is I'll flip through my little book and I go, oh, okay, this is what the answer is, and I'll say, according to what I last heard, this was the answer for this, So I hope that helps my fellow DAC agents because, you could wind up as a leader because your time is precious because you have so many people that you're dealing with on your team. And if we're just taking a little bit of time of writing those notes out, the questions and the answers, we're able to free you up a little bit more because, there wouldn't be any need to, ask those same questions all the time. So thank you again. And I also want to say thank you to Harlequin because Harlequin, she's reached out and she's been an encouragement as well. So we're just blessed with an incredible team. So thank you both.
Amen.
And thank you all.
Amen to that. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate your kind words. And man, you're a great student. Keep up the great
I
work.
appreciate it. And we, and my wife and I, she hasn't joined or anything, but she loves David just as much as I do as well.
Awesome. Hard not to love him, right? All right.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I'm going to go to Jimmy. Jimmy is new with us. I'm going to ask you to unmute. How are you doing, Jimmy? Welcome to DAC. Can you unmute? Let's try that again.
Okay, can you
you
hear
are.
me now? All right.
I can.
Yeah, brand new. I just joined yesterday. I was on a the webinar that Harlequin did for Noah Booker a few days ago. And I liked it.
Okay.
I did commercial and business funding back in between 2008 and 2012. And so I had a little bit of an idea. Just a matter of fact, one of I heard somebody mention On Deck, and believe it or not, I did the funding with them many years ago. So I'm a little bit familiar with the concept. When you went through the compensation chart, I know I have a lot of questions, but I have not watched that video yet, so I'll hold off on asking till I get to that after I watch those videos. The question I have, first of all, do the lenders have people that can speak Spanish? Because I know that there's usually a lot of, I live in Houston, so there's no shortage of the Spanish-owned businesses. So do they have the people who are bilingual can communicate with, I don't speak Spanish myself, but maybe if there's a lender that can speak, they might feel more comfortable.
Yeah, that's a great question, Jimmy. Unfortunately, any business owner that wants to get funding through DAC has to speak and read English. We've tried the interpreter thing before, and we've had some folks that defaulted on funding, and they claimed that they didn't understand what they were signing because they did not speak and read English. So they have to be fluent in English themselves to be able to get funding. So no, we don't have that Spanish support there for them. Hopefully somewhere down the road that will come into play, but at this time all of our lenders require that they speak English and speak and read English.
Okay. Now, as far as the lending, they can do it nationwide, or are there any even outside the continental U.S. like are they able to lend in Puerto Rico or other U.S. territories, or pretty much
no, just the 50 states, just the continental U.S.
states
right now. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the last question I have is, initially I had thought about leading with the gig funding, but I see your point. Texas has much work. So as you mentioned, you lead with the business capital page. So the question I have is simple. Can I purchase a domain name and just have the thing redirected to that, so that way I don't have to remember to add in my agent number at the end?
Absolutely. And let's see, probably day 3 of my emails that you should be receiving, you're going to see why use a domain. And I teach that exactly, so that you buy a domain name and you redirect it so that your client is only typing in a simple domain. Like I use dacfundingoptions.com, and it goes straight over to my business capital page of the website. So great minds think alike. You're on the right track.
Okay.
there, Judy.
Now, are there certain words of the terminology we are not allowed to use?
Yes, there's 2 things you cannot use. You cannot use David Allen Capital. You can't spell that out. Using the acronym DAC is fine, but you cannot use David Allen Capital, and you cannot use Bank Breezy, which is our funding platform partnership. And you cannot use that not only in a domain name, but you can't use it in an email address either. So you couldn't have jimmy.davidallencapital@gmail.com. So just use of those names in full is against our marketing policy.
Okay, that's what I thought. That's not what I had. I have 2 or 3 possible domain names I want to use, and none of them involve that. So that's fine.
Then you're good to go.
Okay. Thank
Thank
you.
you for
Hopefully
your
I'll have
questions.
more questions next time.
Okay, excellent. And you can always respond to me by email. If you send me an email and I've not responded in a couple of days, just know that I'm backed up. And if it's important, send me a text message. My cell phone is in the signature of my emails. Okay.
Okay. So now, should I reach out to Harlequin first, or does it
If you're in
matter?
Harlequin's team, absolutely. You'll get better leadership from her than you do through me.
Okay. I think I'm in the Harlequin's team
I think
because,
you
like I
are.
said, I signed up under Noel, and she was the one that did the presentation the other day. So
Yes,
Yes.
Jimmy, you are on my team. So
okay,
you can go ahead and reach out to me. I have a little bit more availability than Ellen does.
okay, very good.
Excellent. All right. Thank you. And look who we have on our Zoom tonight, Jamar. Hey, Jamar, how are you? How did you find out about this secret Zoom?
Hey, Ellen. Thank you so much for allowing me to take part and listen to the awesome training. I found out about this Zoom through Harlequin. We had a call maybe a month ago and she invited me. So I've had it on my calendar for a while, but this was the first day I was able to kind of make it in, as I'm actually driving east. I'm headed to Austin, Texas for an actual relocation. So I'm getting the heck out of Los Angeles.
Okay, so you're relocating. Awesome.
I'm relocating to Austin, Texas. Yes.
Well, good for you. I hear it's beautiful in Austin. And
I do.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you're going to be a little bit more of a tax-friendly state in Texas versus California.
Absolutely. And when you start making the big bucks, you do not want people's hands in your pockets.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
So
Jimmy, I just saw Jimmy.
What wisdom do you want to share tonight? Because you're always have such great questions for David Rutz when you're on the corporate Zooms. And I just always love listening when you pipe in with questions or comments.
Yeah, well, I've got some questions tonight because I'm always a student. I'm always in student mode. First, shout out to Jimmy with his awesome Texas shirt. I'm gonna have to get one of those, Jimmy, because when I go Texas, I'm gonna go big. So I want people to know, hey, he's in Texas now, in Texas country.
I got that at Walmart.
Oh, wow.
Excellent.
Okay.
Yeah. And I just moved from Austin to Houston last year.
And what inspired that move, Jimmy?
I live with my sister and our elderly father, and she got the job transferred to Houston.
Okay. Well, good on you. We'll stay connected for sure.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good.
All right, Ellen. So the first question that I have is, you're one of those multi-hyphenated, successful entrepreneurs, and you seem very organized. Talk to us a little bit about what it takes to be successful in multiple things while still accelerating at one of them to a high degree.
Well, great question. Thank you for what you think is organized. Sometimes my days are just like, just a bomb went off and everything exploded. But what makes me successful is I'm focused and I act with intent every single day. I have two businesses that keep me very busy. One of those is a limousine company, and I'm constantly juggling clients that are reaching out to me and making sure that they're getting good customer service and that they're taken care of. And then I have my DAC family that is constantly reaching out. DAC is always a priority. A lot of times when we have DAC as a part-time income stream, which is how I believe everybody should start out. I don't believe anybody should try to walk away from a job and do this full-time unless you've got a full-time income stream, because there's a certain level of pressure and stress that gets put on you when you need the sale and you need to get a funding versus just being out there trying to help a business owner, right? It's a different mindset. But I have DAC as top of mind awareness every single day, even though it's not my full-time every penny income stream yet. And it probably never will be, because I have these other businesses are creating residual income for me. DAC will be my main thing in the years to come. But it's always just with intent. And I pay attention every morning. I get up and I look at what has happened overnight. I look at the new team members that have joined. I send out welcome emails, and then I'm going in and looking at reports and answering calls. I'm looking at my marketing methods. What can I send out today? What can I do to attract more business clients? Because my role is to personally generate clients on my own, not just helping team members get clients. So it's just living with intent, I think, on that. And it does take organization, but I think more than anything, it takes time management and the intent and dedication that I have for each one. I make time for both of those. And then I try to fit in a lot of fun time too. Harlequin said as we were getting on here that I've moved back to the house on my family farm, and I have a beautiful place here. This summer has been amazing, being back living on a family lake with a swimming pool in my backyard. And I make sure that I make plenty of me time as well. You can see I've got a nice tan this year, and everybody goes, "Where'd you get that tan, Ellen?" I said, "I got it in my backyard." So just about focus and intent, I think, more than anything. But thanks for that question, Jamar. What else do you have?
That was a great answer. One of the things I really noticed is that living with intention. It sounds like you maybe have different periods throughout the day where there are things on the calendar to look at that are DAC specific things. Is that something you do? Or do you kind of like just have a certain checklist of things that you always make sure you get to before the day is over that's DAC specific?
Yeah, no, it's a checklist that I go through in my mind every morning, whether it's the first thing, sometimes I may be up and out the door with limo business stuff. I may be up before the break of dawn. But before 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning, I have always looked at my team growth. And by the time David is sending out commission emails, which I'm happy to say, I get those every single day. The only reason I wouldn't get one every single day is if someone in my team did not get a funding, but I'm getting some sort of override on the team. So that's always a daily reminder of my business, and my business is growing, and what can I do today to help me and the team move forward. So by 11 o'clock or noon at the latest, I've gone through a real good analysis of what's going on in my DAC business. And then I have, I run a calendar. I keep a mobile calendar all the time. Everything that I do every day is scheduled as far as business things. And then in between, when I've got time windows, I fit in whether it's DAC or something for me or my family. I just kind of weave it in between, and it's just day-to-day life for me. I've been doing this for so long as an entrepreneur, since 1997. And actually, prior to becoming an entrepreneur, when I was with Domino's Pizza in the corporate world, I was acting as if I was self-employed. Yes, I had a boss and I had accountability there, but I had been out in the field with them after my first year with them. I was out in the field as a area supervisor and a corporate trainer, and then a senior supervisor and operations director. So I was responsible for my own time a long time before I became an entrepreneur. So that's a good question and a really good point, because there are a lot of you on here tonight that have probably had that kind of role or may have that kind of role with your work today, where you are independent in your role with an employer. And if you are already independent with an employer, you have what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur. You just have to turn that independence and that focus on being intentional with your workday and meeting sales quotas or getting your task done or whatever it is evolved around your job. Just turning that towards doing something for yourself instead of doing that for an employer, and have that same intentionality when you're trying to get your own business started, as if you had a boss that was holding you accountable for what you do, just like you do today.
Thank you for that. That was an awesome answer. And it actually leads to my next question. When you talked about that person that's, that self-starter, I'm thinking about developing the business. Like, how do you get the right people? And like, since most people, we recommend starting out part-time and just, throughout your day, you connect with people and you let them know some of the things you're doing along the side. But, that idea of receiving an override check daily from all of that team volume, talk to us a little bit about what you've done to focus on the business development from the team building side. Like, how intentional are you with that? How consistent is that flow? Because obviously you've gotten hundreds, if not thousands of agents at this point. So what does that look like on a day-to-day basis, week-to-week basis?
I do. I have, I'm sorry to say, I haven't looked at my total organizational count. I know it's over 12,000 agents in my group, but don't think that that is a large organization, because it's really easy to get people to sign up for a free business, right? So many people get started for free. They don't even get plugged into the training, or they don't get started. But what I do, Jamar, and I think this has been really key, is I add every new agent that comes into my organization, I add them to my email list. And I have an autoresponder where I've written a series of emails that automatically go out. And then a couple of times a week at minimum, I send out an update or a video recording or something through that entire organization. We have Q on here tonight. She did a testimonial earlier where she just got promoted to DAC 1, had a $90,000 funding as her first funding. And Q had started with us back in 2019, but she said tonight, I get your emails, Ellen. So my emails as a drip campaign on people that may or may not be active today, something happens in their life that they keep seeing my emails and they go, I'm going to reach out to her. Maybe I need to focus more on DAC. So I think that's been an integral part of the team building aspect, is just being a good communicator and letting people know that I'm here. And whether their team leader and their team leader has gone away, as Mark shared earlier, people come and go. But I think in an organization, knowing that you have someone consistently there is important, as a new agent or as an agent in the field, someone that they can reach out to and not always feel like they have to go to corporate, because having corporate support versus team leader support is a totally different animal, and having access there to do that. So I think that's been the biggest thing, is the emails, and then doing the text message updates. But these Zooms, I started these Zooms after COVID hit, and I really had to shake the dust off the first couple of weeks, because it shut down my transportation business completely with limousine service. And Harlequin and I got on the phone and we were talking about different things. She and Bob Amato on her team were saying, Ellen, we'd love to do team Zooms, because we started recruiting like crazy. We decided that if COVID was going to shut down our other businesses, then everybody was going to be working from home, and we were going to teach them how they could work from home with DAC. So they asked me to start doing some Zooms, and I had to think about it for a couple of weeks before I committed to it, because I knew it was a big commitment for me to say I'm going to be available every single Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern time, week in and week out with no exceptions. I wasn't sure if I was ready to commit to that, but I thought about it long and hard, and I said, yeah, I'm in. And Harlequin, bless her, she came right along with me and was initially my moderator, making sure that nothing crazy was happening on the Zoom call, but it soon led to her being my co-host every week. So she's in a position, if I can't be here, she could lead these calls just like I do. In fact, she's done that a couple of times, either because of reception issues, or I just had a last minute situation arise where I wasn't available to be physically on the Zoom. So I think that's it. Communicate, be consistent, and let your team know that you're there to support them. That's been the biggest thing for me.
So Ellen, I want to point out something in case people missed it, but the emails, the drip email, I love that word, drip. I feel like you're dripping people with like a love IV of saying, hey, look, there's success happening here. You're already a part of it. You just got to get activated and get focused, and you can have some of the success as well. And so I think that's really important. And I've attempted to do that with some people, but I think making it form, like just putting them on some sort of campaign where it's like, hey, here's some updates happening in my world. I'd love for you to be a part of it. Let's get connected. I think that's really powerful. And then the last thing I'll ask, and I don't want to keep hogging the time, but I'm loving this. I love this. This feels like love right here. Like it feels like a labor of love between you, between Harlequin, even everyone that I've listened to share. You can just tell that people feel supported in this group, in this area, in this arena.
Absolutely.
And so for me, I'm like, okay, this is the kind of thing that I want to replicate. But the last thing that I will ask is, because this is a free business, right? A lot of times people don't necessarily value things that they get for free. And this is probably one of the most powerful vehicles for generating income on demand whenever you want to put the effort in. How do you think we can do a better job of getting across to people just how serious this opportunity really is, despite the fact that it's free?
Yeah, that's a great question, and that's a conversation that I've had with David Rutz many times. And I believe, coming from my training background and my really diving in as an educator with whatever it is I'm doing, whether it was in the restaurant industry or in the network marketing space, you have to have people that are willing to become students of this new venture that they're taking on. And I really believe that when we see this new phase of onboarding agents where they're going to have to go through some of the required videos as part of the signing up process, I think we're going to weed out some of the folks that aren't going to be serious about it to begin with. Because I know right now people see the big money opportunity and they're signing up as agents without even watching the presentation. I know I've been guilty of seeing something and it looked good and sounded good, and I've gone ahead and signed up for it. If it was something free, I've signed up for it so that I would get that email in my inbox as a reminder to go back and later dive into it a little bit further. So I feel like that happens sometimes with people coming on as a DAC agent. But I think the training piece is the most important for them to really understand how enormous this opportunity is. So many people that aren't taking it seriously, they either don't believe, as David talked about today, that you got to believe in what we're doing and the services that we're marketing. They either don't believe or they just really haven't seen the full scope of what David Allen Capital is all about and what we have to offer. So I think that'll make a big impact on having people that are more serious. Plus, as we have more and more people succeeding and bigger incomes from more people in the field, that wakes people up too and gets people to tune in and listen more closely to what's happening. So I think that's kind of where I'm thinking that it's going to start.
I agree with that. And I also wonder too, because let's be honest, we're in a social media age where people really are responding to flash and low substance, but high flash effect. And obviously we don't want to just replicate and do what everyone else is doing. But we've got to figure out a way to, stimulate the mind and get people, because what I think people don't do is people don't really dream like they used to. I feel like people, they see things, they want things, but dreaming is a process of really, embodying it, feeling it in your body and your mind, writing it down, going after it, being aligned with other people doing the same thing. And so it's like DAC. I wish you could see my hands right now. DAC, Dare to Dream. It's like we got to figure out how to activate people's, pineal gland. We got to wake people up.
Oh yeah, going back and doing the dream boards that we used to do when I ran a training center here with one of the network marketing companies that I was involved with. We had an 8,500 square foot training facility. We were in there every day. We would do super Saturdays once a month and a big Saturday training every single weekend. So that's one of the exercises that we would do from time to time, is have everybody come in with a poster board and magazines and start clipping things out of the magazines, pictures, and creating that dream board of what their goals were. But the truth is, when you create those dream boards and you keep looking at something long enough, it becomes reality. In fact, me being back in this house today, I had a handwritten dream board. It didn't have photos on it. I just had sketched out on a big poster board what my next steps were, my next home, and the basics or not the basics, but the requirements that were there. And guess what? Everything, those requirements are met and then some, with me being back here on the farm. So I love it. And Jamar, thank you so much for your comments and your questions. I see we've got 3 more people with their hands up. If you don't have anything else, I'm going to go ahead and go over to Shelton. Did that wrap up with what you had?
The only thing else I had to say was thank you so much for your generosity of time and spirit. And on my dream board, I'm going to have a picture of you with that beautiful smile and that beautiful tan. Have a great night.
Awesome. You're too sweet. Thank you, Jamar. And again, I'm honored that you took time to join us tonight. I appreciate you much, buddy. Thank you. All right, let's go to Shelton. What do you have tonight, Shelton, as you're being such a great student of your DAC business?
Hello. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. A couple things. One, last week we were talking about which logos we could use or couldn't use, and then on Friday we I asked and all that. Is it okay if I share my screen for a moment to show for those
as long as you don't have like your personal information up there?
No, I don't. Okay. What's that? Can you see my screen?
No, I just see you.
Okay, let me try it. Oh, it's been disabled, so I can't. Okay, well then real quick, I'll just walk everybody through it. On your resource thing, anything that says Bank Breezy, absolutely do not use.
Correct.
And then under the DAC funding images, you will notice right on that, as soon as you get in there, there is one Bank Breezy thing there, but I've gone through the rest of the files. They have, after I talked to David about that last week, he cleared those out, except for this one. There's one left. As soon as you click on that that file, that's still in there for DAC funding images, but that's the only one left in that folder. Everything else you can use. And like he said, if you use it, get approval, submit it to support. I used one of the images for my email signature and I sent it in, and they're very quick. I sent it in yesterday afternoon, And this morning, before the training and the get meeting this morning, I already had approval for my email signature being approved with that, using that logo. I wish I could share my screen for like what Jamar was talking about, inspiration to get people motivated. And it goes along with what you were saying about it's good for people to start this out part-time. I can't. I got hurt in a semi truck accident, and I wish I could show you the picture of my semi truck to maybe inspire people that don't wait for something bad to happen to start being motivated on this. Take the action. And where I was, a good example where I was waiting on recruiting new people until I was able to start showing that I personally have started getting success. David said today, he's like, he gave a story about how he understood and, you know, was those same thought processes, but ended up, if he would have done that instead of bringing on the small little group under him when he first started this out, this wouldn't be here now. He said it wouldn't be because he didn't get people signed up under getting loans right away. It was the people, a few of the people under him that did, which made this all happen. Because he said, he goes, if it wasn't for that, this wouldn't be here today. It was those people under him that got it. So he said, and this, I agree, I believe this for anybody, even myself, if that's the mindset like what I had, try changing your mindset, because those people below you, while you're out there trying to get potential clients and building those relationships, they can be doing the same thing, and they can help sustain you as you're doing so. So, all right, that's all I had.
Excellent. Yeah. And sorry you can't share your screen there. That was disabled. But, you know, I started recruiting immediately the day that I signed up. And I was in the business about 8 months before I had my first funded client. But I had an organization of hundreds and hundreds of agents by that time, if not over 1,000. I'd have to go back through my numbers. But yeah, recruit, and you can always play catch up on being eligible to earn overrides on those folks. I have Q with her hand up. I'm going to ask you to unmute. Are you there, Q? Can you unmute again? Let's go over to Ray. Ray, I'm going to ask you to unmute while we're waiting on Q. Go ahead, Ray.
Hello.
Hi there.
Hi. I just want to say thank you to Harlequin. We spent like almost 2 hours last week on the phone trying to get me up to speed on what I needed to do and my game plan and my personal income goal sheet. And we went over a whole lot, and I really wanted to thank her for that. I know she was tired because she had a business meeting the next morning and she said she's not a morning person. So, and I would really like to thank you too, Ellen, for answering my emails. I know I send a lot of them because I just do. So thank you so much for answering me. I set up my domains today. So I'm really excited, and now I'm ready to go ahead and buy my little drop cards and get rolling. Thank you.
Excellent. Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for those kind words. And yeah, Harlequin is awesome. So thanks for publicly sharing your appreciation to her too. She said, go Ray, go. All right. Looks like Hugh is back on. Let me ask you to unmute again. Can you unmute? There
Yes,
you are.
hi.
Yes,
Can
ma'am.
you guys hear me?
I can.
Okay. I just have maybe one question. I know you mentioned, you know, I'm back in. I'm new. Okay, so I'm back in with you guys, just trying to see what's going on with everything, so I can get, you know, successful. And I know you mentioned that the person that actually signed me up was no longer with DAC. Can you tell me what that means?
Well, doesn't mean that they're not with DAC. They're still in our system. So anytime anybody signs up in our system and has not canceled their position, they're still there. So that your enroller is still there. Noel is still there. Just Noel was not active with funded clients to be eligible to earn off of your funding. But at any point, Noel could get reactivated just like you are by saying, hey, let me check DAC out and start talking to clients, and Noel will be active again immediately. So that's all that means. So Noel is still there. You're breaking up. You've got like a bad connection. Yeah, I'm not hearing you at all. Maybe you can type your question in the chat. I'm not hearing you at all, Q. Your audio was breaking up like you're in a bad cell zone or something. Yeah, there it just popped off. Okay, or you're welcome. If you can still hear me, you're welcome to reach out to me individually on that. Okay. All right, guys. Unless we have something in the chat that has not been addressed, we will go ahead and wrap up. Did you see anything else there, Harlequin?
Nope, the chat has been quiet with questions. It's all, congratulations to all the people that ranked up, and yeah, so that's about it.
Yeah, and we had some folks that were just mesmerized with Jamar's questioning, which was really nice. I appreciate that tonight too. So great interaction, great questions from all of you participating. I appreciate your testimonials for those of you that ranked up and had something to share, or the renewals with Mark. Always appreciate that feedback. But guys, most importantly, I appreciate you. I appreciate your dedication to be here in the first place, whether you're watching us live or whether you're watching this on the replay. Your dedication to your business is what begins your success track with DAC. And it just takes one step each and every day to get you a little bit further down the line and a little bit further down the line. And before you know it, you will have taken many, many steps and had many, many conversations with business owners. And a year will go by, and another year, and another year, and you'll start seeing team growth in your organization, and you'll start getting those daily commission emails like I do saying, congratulations, you're eligible for revenue share on a team member. It's a process, and it doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen with continued focused intent. So I wish you great success. I look forward to seeing you guys on Friday at 11:30 a.m. for our next DAC Zoom. You know how to find me if you have questions in between. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you all. Have a great evening. We'll see you Friday.